You're watching Much Music on Sky.
I think the DJs of today could be the producers of tomorrow. So.
Welcome to another edition of Soul in the City. Michael Williams here with you. We've got a great show lined up in 3 parts. We have the rap special. Now, originally, the show ran in a 2-hour form. We decided to break it up 1 hour this week, 1 hour next week, and a completely new segment on the 3rd week. And on the 3rd week, we will also have a number of cassettes that we will be giving out. So stay tuned for all 3 weeks to find out how you can win. In this hour special, though, we have for you Bill Adler of Def Jam Records and also Tom Silverman talking about rap has the new rock and roll. We'll also pay a visit to the Def Jam offices in New York City. We'll discuss rap as being crossover and find out if it is actually crossed over into the mainstream charts, which it seems to be doing, even though radio airplay for rap seriously lacks. And we sit in with Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel, Africa Bambaataa, Tom Silverman, and Kurtis Blow. And we also have Nelson George of Billboard magazine and Robert Ford Jr., one of the original collaborators and producers with Kurtis Blow, talking about the beginnings of what we know as rap.
The first story I did on rap was about a guy named DJ Kool Herc, who was sort of the original cutting DJ. He was the guy that Flash and almost all the guys who now do it sort of learned from. They were sort of disciples of Herc. And I think Nelson was with me on that story. We found him in the schoolyard at Taft High School. And from there we got interested in the music and in the people and the characters involved with it. And I did a story on some rappers, among them Kurtis Blow, who were very well known at the time and who I discovered were able to play large dance halls with 5,000 people and, you know, didn't have any records out and were growing better than some of the established R&B acts that were playing in town at the same time.
People start roaring as they reach my hand. I said, thank you for bringing me to the promised land. But now I must go, so goodbye to everybody. Tonight I see you all at my super dinner party. And late that night at my super dinner party, I was dancing to the beat and entertaining a lot of dotty. Then we just started.
It started back in 1974, 75 when disco was really hot. You know, the black teenagers didn't have the money to get into the clubs, so what we did up in the Harlem and the South Bronx was, like, we partied in the parks, you know, and you had, like, neighborhood DJs who would come out on Saturdays and Sundays and hook up to the lampposts, and we have 2,000, 3,000 kids inside a given park at a given moment, and DJs would just go from park to park battling each other, and each neighborhood would have their own favorite DJ, and then those 2 guys would battle, and then the winner would take over both neighborhoods, you know. So I used to just ride around to park and just battle other DJs that way, and that's how it all started.
Even back then, this is talking about when it was just starting out, this whole thing, this is lower class, this is something that we want to suppress. I really got the feeling that a lot of people wanted to suppress this because they felt this was something they didn't want kids to know about. It was like they equated it with drug abuse and equated it with mugging.
We're Grandmaster Flash in the Furious 5, and we came here to Canada. All the way live, gonna rock in the spot, gonna do it right. And be in the place, in the house tonight. So when you come inside and when you walk in the door, gonna make you scream when you get on the floor. Grandmaster Flash and the 5 MCs are guaranteed to rock you to your knees.
We used to plan pretty mean parties.
Oh, really?
Our own parties.
What went on at these parties?
Oh.
Why wasn't I invited? Well, from now on.
Give me your phone number.
Yeah, that was just regular parties, though, you know, but they just turned into, you know, wild parties. Yeah.
Like what? What do you mean? What was the scene there? Describe what would happen.
Real, like a rough, you know, people used to get robbed at a party sometimes. Shootings.
What it was is like, okay, you can separate the two audiences.
Anything is liable to happen.
You can separate the 2 audiences, like the disco audience, where it's 21 and over, you gotta wear a suit jacket and this, and you gotta dress a certain way. And then there was the other audience. And really, they had nowhere to go. Not saying that we planned it that way, but this is where they came to us. And those was totally dress conscious and
weren't totally conscious.
And they carried certain items that maybe wouldn't be carried in a discotheque, you know, stuff like that.
Because like how we more or less did when we gave parties, we more or less, mostly we got like as far as people would, you know, class other people, we got like more or less what would be called the lowest standard of the people. We got, you know, all the people that did the hanging out, you know, and the hustling and all that. We always appeal to, you know, those type of people.
Standing on the front stoop, hanging at the window, watching all the power go by on as the breeze blow. Crazy ladies living in a bag, eating out of garbage bells. Used to be a fag hat, nothing does a tango. Get the life of tango was in our prince to see the lost us. Down at the freak show, watching all the freaks. So she can tell a story to the girls back home. She went to the city and got so pretty. She had to get a picture, couldn't make it on her own. Push me, cause I'm close to the edge, and I'm trying not to lose my head.
Party people, can yo get funky? Suicide and Force, can yo get funky? The Zulu Nation, can yo get funky? Yeah, just hit me.
With its social conscience, the aggressive attitude of rap was a perfect match for the streetwise new music crowd of New York.
This guy named Kool DJ Herc formed this new style of music, which is something almost like reggae, toasting. It's rap over side instrumental or with bass or beat or rhythms. And he formed this music which was called rap. And this guy named Love Bustowski, he used to always, you know, say to the hip hop, you don't stop. And with myself, bringing out all the different type of records, because I was one of the first DJ to incorporate rock and funk and African and calypso reggae all mixed together at parties, playing it to a larger Black and Hispanic community. And a lot of the new wave groups downtown, like the Mud Club, the Jefferson, heard of me, and they said, who's this black guy playing rock music to a black audience? And they invited me downtown, and from there it became history.
It's an art form. It's just like jazz or blues or rock and roll. And the people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 20 years will have to consider people like Africa Bambaataa and Melly Mel and Grandmaster Flash for positions, because they are the rock and roll artists of today. They are the people who are really saying something. They're coming from the street, and their message is from their heart. They're not about making money, it's their culture. You know, I mean, they definitely want to make the money, don't get me wrong, but their motivation is from their heart, and you can tell in their music that they're sincere. Even if they're saying nothing, they're sincere. You know, there's a rage that you can feel, and it's really exciting, and it doesn't exist in almost any other kind of music.
Just get off the wall, let's have a ball. The 70s are gone, it's the 80s, y'all. Grab a fly girl by the hand and ask her to dance. Come on, fellas, don't be shy, just take a chance. You never know, it might lead to romance. Cause the beat of cold stomping, it'll put you in a trance. You're so hypnotized that you stop and stare. Stepping out of this, cause I'm not with that there. Get on the dance floor, come on, take a stand. All the girlies in the place wanna dance with you, my man. Get on the floor and work it out if you can. Here's my ulterior motive, my game plan. Doesn't hurt to flirt, just go ahead and chase a skirt. You can't help it, it's your line of work. To get the women on the floor, it's you they adore. You might as well give them what they came here for. You know what time it is. You know what time it is, you know what time it is. You know what time it is, you know what time it is. You know what time it is, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Hang on, party people, cause here we go. We're gonna go take the party to another plateau. But in order for us to achieve a new height, we wanna hear Flash cut the beat up in that rock. One Flash is chopping the mix like an axe on the wood. You gotta dance cause the beat is finger licking good.
Throw your hands above your head and reach for a cloud. And if it's anything you want to say, say it loud. I know the bass is bumping so hard, the lights are dim. And y'all are letting me know the cold blowing the rim. But that's right, you're being served. Served with a smile. And homeboy, you don't like it, we can step in the eye. This show no shame, you know it's only right. And if it's anything you want to get it off tonight. You know what time it is. You know what time it is, you know what time it is. You know what time it is.
A simple push of a fade, a little flex of a wrist flash, whooping the mix while I'm kicking the gift. You're like a double-edged razor, the boy is nice. When the cuts give room, or you might get sliced.
He's too cold, the hole too hot to be stopped. This jam that we got is good to the last drop.
Whether you like it or not, we rock.
Yo, since the day we emerged, have you heard that it was all about a party? And yo, this is word.
This party's rated and that's for no suckers allowed. That's a scoop, hear me true, so don't you come here acting wild.
But as you know, there's always one in the crowd. You wanna party, then act like you know. Can you dig it?
And if you came to get ill, forget it, I ain't with it. You know what time it is. You know what time it is, you know what time it is. You know what time it is, you know what time it is. On